Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to map out the journey to a really rewarding career in healthcare, one that helps people connect with the world in some of the most fundamental ways you can imagine. This really gets to the heart of it. This is the core mission, the big idea that drives the professionals we're talking about today, audiologists and speech-language pathologists. It's all about breaking down barriers and, well, building bridges. So, how do you actually turn that mission into a career? Well, it really comes down to two very distinct but equally vital professions that answer this call. Let's break down what each one actually does. So, on one hand, you have audiologists. They are the absolute experts of the auditory system. Everything from assessing your hearing and balance to fitting high-tech hearing aids and cochlear implants. Then, on the other hand, you've got speech-language pathologists, or SLPs. They work with this huge range of issues, including how we form sounds, understand language, and even things you might not think of, like swallowing disorders. They're really two sides of the same communication coin. Okay, let's dive into the nitty-gritty. To become a licensed pro in either of these fields, it's not like you can just decide to be one tomorrow and hang up a shingle. Oh no, there's a very clear, very regulated pathway, and it all starts with your education. The law is super clear on this. There are 3 things you absolutely have to do before you can even think about taking that licensing exam. First, you need a bachelor's degree from an accredited university. Second, your major has to be in this specific field or something very closely related. And third, you have to complete a supervised clinical internship. No skipping steps here. And that internship, we're not talking about just shadowing someone for a couple of weeks. This is serious stuff. We're talking a minimum of 375 hours of real, hands-on, supervised clinical practice. This is to make sure that by the time you graduate, you've got actual real-world experience, not just a head full of textbook knowledge. All right, so you've got the degree, you've logged all those internship hours. What's next? Well, it's the big one, the National Professional and Technical Examination. This is the official gateway, the final boss to becoming a licensed practitioner. So what are they actually going to test you on? What do you really need to know to pass this thing? The exam is designed to test the full scope of your professional skills, and it's broken down into 6 different subjects for each profession. And this table is where you can really see the 2 paths diverge. It's fascinating. For audiologists, you can see it's a deep dive into the science and tech, electrophysiology, hearing aids, vestibular rehab. But for SLPs, the focus is much broader, covering everything from how kids develop language to voice and swallowing, and even disorders caused by things like strokes. Now here's the deal with passing. It's straightforward, but it is tough. You need a total average of 60 across all 6 subjects. But, and this is a big but, you can't completely bomb any single section. If you score a 0 on any one subject, you fail. Period. It doesn't matter how high your other scores are, so consistency is absolutely everything. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds like a lot, and it is. But here's the thing. A really strong university program is designed to walk you through it every single step of the way. We can actually use the curriculum at Asia University's Department of Audiology and Speech-Language Pathology as an example to see how they build this journey. So they've basically built a 4-year roadmap. Year 1 is all about laying the groundwork, the basics of medicine and linguistics. In Year 2, you really start to specialize. Year 3 is when you start getting your hands dirty with actual clinical practice and simulations. And then Year 4 is that final push. You're doing your internship and just getting laser-focused on exam prep. It's such a logical progression. But it's not just about the classes, right? A really great program builds this whole support system around you. We're talking professional mentors, a curriculum that's literally designed to match the national exam, and networking events so you can connect with alumni who are already out there doing the job. Okay, so that all sounds fantastic on paper. But here's the million-dollar question. Does it actually work? What are the results? Well, the data tells a pretty amazing story. Just look at these numbers. The proof is right here. For years, graduates from this specific program have consistently and pretty significantly outperformed the national average on these tough licensing exams. That gap you see between the bars, that's the real-world impact of a structured, supportive system. And then you get to this. This is the real kicker. For their most recent graduating class, they reportedly hit a perfect 100% pass rate for both professions. That is not an accident. That is a testament to a system that is designed from the ground up to get students ready for this exact challenge. So you've passed the exam, you've got the license.
game over, right? Nope. That's not the finish line. That is the starting line. Let's talk about the future that opens up, because it's a dynamic, impactful, and deeply human career.
And this right here is the why. This is what gets people out of bed in the morning to do this work. It's not just a job. It really is a calling. You're using your specialized knowledge to fundamentally improve someone's quality of life, to help them connect, and to build a society where everyone has a voice. Okay, so let's boil all of this down. What are the big takeaways? First, this is a career where you can see the impact you make, and it's incredibly meaningful. Second, the path to get there is tough, for sure, but it's clear and well-defined. Third, finding the right academic support system, well, it's crucial for your success. And finally, the ultimate reward is knowing that your work truly opens up the world for other people. And in the end, it all comes down to this one question. It's about so much more than a degree or license. It's about deciding if you are ready to dedicate your skills to helping others find their voice and connect with the world around them.